So I want to go into the new ChatGPT custom GPT builder. If you're not familiar with this, the idea behind these are that you can create a GPT to specialize in any task, whatever task you'd like. Whether it's baking or knitting or helping your kid do their math homework or copywriting or something else, right? You have the ability to create a GPT that is a custom sort of specialist in an area. And I've built a GPT that actually can help you build enhanced versions of them. So I want to show you sort of the comparison between the method for creating your own as it guides you through it. So let's say I want to create a high school math tutor. Now, this is the prescribed way to build one using the guided ChatGPT GPT builder. Okay, so it's now sort of thinking about, okay, what does a high school math tutor need to do? It's calculating the sort of thinking through the process of what do we include here. It's then going to suggest a name, and then it's going to suggest, can it design a profile image or a picture for me as well. So I'm going to show you that process. Okay, so we're almost done. It's done sort of figuring out the what the behavior is, and now it's going to, suggest a name. Math Mentor is the name. Great name. Okay, and let's go ahead, and then it's going to say, okay, great. Now let's design a picture to put here, and now it's generating the profile picture. Okay, and we can wait for that to happen, but I actually want to show you what's happening in the back end now. So I'm going to jump from create to configure here. And in here are the custom instructions that it's come up with. And this is basically a prompt that is saying, here's, act as this, right? Remember the older versions of the prompts, we would give it a role and we'd tell it how to act. But this is now saying, here's your role and here's how I'd like you to behave as you take on that role, right? So I want you to be clear, articulate, helpful with your explanations and guidance on high school math, ranging from algebra to calculus, and sort of giving a little bit more information, okay? But you may recall that sort of there's different degrees of prompting that you can do, sort of from basic prompting like, help me with my math homework, or more thorough and detailed prompting like, you are a expert at algebra, you are going to help me by guiding me through my math homework, asking me one question and giving me an example each step of the way, right? So there's more detail in that second prompt. Well, I want to show you a more detailed way to create a custom GPT. And so here's the model. Here's the first one. Oh, there you go. Here's the cute little image that it created. And now I'm going to actually go over to my GPT architect. And I'm going to tell it that I basically the same thing. I want it to create a high school math tutor. Okay. So I basically said create a custom GPT, start by asking me what the main purpose of the GPT is. And so it's now asking me. Okay. So high school math tutor. Okay. And there we go. Now, I didn't even need to do that. I could have just typed in high school math tutor and it would have started to generate it. So now it's going to generate, based on the thorough instructions I've given it, a much more detailed version of a GPT that specializes in tutoring math for the high school level. Okay. So first it's giving me a bunch of questions that it wants answers to, and then I'm going to be able to answer. Now, I've generated this a bunch of times. Sometimes it asks questions, sometimes it doesn't. But in this case, I'm going to say, one, the answer is high school students, because it wants to know who the audience is. Two, all high school math topics. Three, be helpful but challenging. What's the question number 4? Let's let's see, what tools and resources, and then it says, would I like it to incorporate or suggest external educational resources? And I'm saying yes. 5, how important is it to adapt to different learning styles? Yes, adapt to different styles. And 6, do I want it to be able to assess students' progress? 6, yes, assessment capabilities. Okay, and I didn't even spell assessment correctly, but it knows what I meant. Okay, now it is going to build this out because I've given it a lot more detail. Okay, and so you can see it's now far, far more detailed in the kinds of things it's addressing. And quite frankly, this is the first time I've really encountered that many detailed questions. Usually it's asking me one clarifying question. This time it actually asked me for a lot more. But the more specific detail you can give it in terms of what you're after, the better it's going to be at providing a detailed set of instructions. And so that's exactly what it's doing here right now. And so you can see now, sort of compared to the GPT that was automatically generated by ChatGPT, this one is much, much more thorough in the amount of detail that it's providing. Okay, and I can take this and build on to what I created over there or start from scratch. So I can just copy this, and let's go back over to, I don't think I saved it thoroughly, so it's untitled, but we can go back in here and hit configure, and we'll call this, I think it was called Math Mentor. And I can go in here and I can either add on, some of this may be the same, some of it may be different, sort of contrasting to what's above. So I could just replace all this. And I just want to delete the stuff that was the sort of discussion part of that. So now I can say, I need help with the homework problem, and this is just sort of a preview of it. This is asking about 2 trains passing at 2 p.m. when one leaves. I'm making this up completely because I don't even remember high school math. The station at 11 a.m. and one leaves at 1 p.m. What are the variables I need to find? Don't know if that's going to, be an accurate question, but it is now guiding me through the details of how to work through this problem, right? So now it's saying we need to first understand the scenario and identify, let's break down the problem. So it's saying, train A, train B, and they pass at 2 p.m. And now let's look at some of the other variables in the equation so that you can then work through this. Now, I have no idea what I'm doing because I don't remember high school math, but you can see that it is following my very detailed instructions about how to interact as a result of the input that I provided in its instructions. And so if you're interested in access to my GPT Architect, I'm more than happy to share that with you. I'll go ahead and leave the link to this in the comments below this video. Got any questions? More than happy to answer them.